Somewhere along the coast of Albania, there's a stretch of water so impossibly blue that travel writers have stopped calling it the Albanian Riviera and started calling it the Maldives of Europe. And yet, almost nobody outside the Balkans has ever heard of it. Over the next 12 minutes, I'm going to take you to 10 places exactly like this: hidden, ancient, and breathtaking, and the last one may be the most surprising of all. Every summer, more than 40 million travelers squeeze into the same 10 Mediterranean postcard towns: Santorini, Amalfi, Dubrovnik. But just a few kilometers away from each of those crowds, there is another Mediterranean, one that is empty, silent, and staggeringly beautiful. Before we begin, a question worth holding on to: what actually makes a place a hidden gem? It is not simply that few people visit, it is that the place has kept something, a piece of history, a way of life, a landscape, that the famous towns have already traded away. Imagine walking through a medieval town where the loudest sound is a donkey's hooves on stone. That is what we are looking for today. I have ordered these 10 by surprise value, so the deeper we go, the more unexpected it gets. Number 10, we start. Number 10, Kaysamil, Albania. Number 10 is the place we opened with, Kaysamil in southern Albania. The Maldives of Europe label is not travel magazine exaggeration. The water here is genuinely that turquoise, and so shallow you can wade between islands. 4 small islands sit just offshore, Ksamil's own little archipelago, and at low tide you can practically swim to the nearest one in minutes. But here is the part the beach photos never show you. 20 minutes from this beach sits Butrint, a UNESCO World Heritage City that has been continuously inhabited since before the Trojan War. Greeks, Romans, Byzantines, Venetians, they all built on top of each other here. In a single afternoon, you can swim in a lagoon and walk through 3,000 years of ruins. Almost no other beach town in Europe offers that combination. Number 9, Piran, Slovenia. Slovenia has only 47 kilometers of coastline, that is less than many countries' shortest motorway, and almost all of it wraps around one perfect little town, Piran. Piran looks Venetian because it was Venetian for 500 years. Its narrow streets funnel toward Tartini Square, a stone oval named after the violinist and composer born here in 1692. Stand in that square at dusk, when the marble glows and the campanile, a near copy of St. Mark's, catches the last light, and you could swear you were in Venice, minus the crowds, minus the canals, minus the price. The real secret, though, lies just outside town. The Sechovlia salt pans have been producing salt the same way for 700 years, a landscape of shallow white pools where pink salt still crystallizes by hand. It is one of the oldest working salt works in the world, and it sits 10 minutes from the Adriatic's best-kept town. Number 8. Miljet, Croatia. Croatia's islands are no secret, but one of them still is, even to Croats. Miljet is the greenest island in the Adriatic, and a third of it is a single national park. The reason is geography. 2 saltwater lakes, Veliko and Malo Jezero, sit in the island's western half, connected to the sea by a channel so narrow the water only half mixes. In the middle of the larger lake floats a tiny islet, and on that islet stands a 12th century Benedictine monastery. You reach it by a small wooden boat that the monks' successors still row by hand. The Greeks had a story about this place. They believed Odysseus was shipwrecked here and held for 7 years by the nymph Calypso. Whether you believe the legend or not, standing in that monastery garden, surrounded by water you can drink straight from the lake, yes, it is that clean you understand why a man might not want to leave. Number 7, Kekova, Turkey. Number 7 is a city you can only visit by boat because most of it is underwater. Kekova, on Turkey's Lycian coast, was a thriving port until earthquakes in the 2nd century dropped the coastline into the sea. Today, the ruins of that city, staircases, walls, the outlines of houses, lie a few meters beneath the surface. And the water is so clear that you can read the streets from the deck of a glass-bottom boat. Above the water, the drama continues. The village of Kalekoi climbs the hill to a medieval castle built partly from the sunken city's own stones. From the top, you look down on a landscape where the past literally breaks the surface of the sea. This is not a recreation, not a museum, it is a drowned city, still there. Number 6, Procida, Italy. Number 6 is proof that Italy can still keep a secret. Procida sits in the Bay of Naples, 20 minutes from the tourist machine of Ischia and Capri, and yet it receives a fraction of their visitors. It is the smallest island in the bay, and in 2022, Italy named it the country's capital of culture, a quiet admission that this place, not the famous neighbors, is the one worth understanding. The harbor of Marina Coricella is the reason. A wall of fishermen's houses painted lemon yellow, shell pink, and faded terracotta, stacked so tightly they look poured, not built. Cinema found this place long before the guidebooks did. The waterfront in The Talented Mr. Ripley, that was here, and Il Postino, the most famous Italian film about poetry and the sea, shot in Procida too. It is the Mediterranean as it looked before mass tourism, and it is still there, waiting. We are 5 gems in, and I want to pause for a moment. Not to sell you anything, but to ask a question. Which of these 5 would you actually visit first? The Albanian Maldives, Slovenia's hidden Venice, the green island of Mljet, or the sunken city of Kikova? Tell me in the comments. I read every answer, and your vote shapes what I film next. And if you are enjoying this, a like is the signal that tells the algorithm to show the next traveler this coastline too. Number 5, Hydra, Greece. Number 5 is a place that chose silence. On the Greek island of Hydra, there are no cars, no motorbikes, no motorized vehicles at all. The law has banned them for decades. The only engines you will hear belong to the water taxis in the harbor. Everything else moves by foot, by boat, or by donkey. This is not a museum piece. It is a working town that simply never modernized. In the 18th century, Hydra's merchant fleet made it one of the richest islands in Greece, and the stone mansions those captains built still climb the hillside, austere and grey against the blue. Artists have always been drawn to that austerity. Leonard Cohen bought a house here in the 1960s and wrote much of his early work on the island. You can feel it, a stillness that famous Greece has lost. And here is the cruel irony worth noting. Hydra is only 90 minutes from Athens, closer than Santorini's ferry, cheaper to reach, and almost completely free of crowds. The world sails past it on the way to somewhere busier. Number 4, Monemvasia, Greece. Number 4 is the most dramatic entrance in the Mediterranean because you cannot see it until you are inside it. Monemvasia is a medieval fortress town built on a slab of rock that rises straight out of the sea, connected to the mainland by a single causeway. Its name means single entrance, and there is literally one gate. Walk through that gate and the modern world disappears. No cars fit in these lanes. They are too narrow for 2 people to pass. Byzantine churches sit beside Venetian mansions, and above it all, on the summit lies the abandoned upper town, a ghost city of cisterns and walls with a view that stretches across the Myrtoan Sea. Stand there at dusk, with the lamps of the lower town flickering on below you, and you understand why the Byzantines called this the Gibraltar of the East. It was never meant to be found easily. For centuries, Monemvasia was one of the most important fortified cities in the Mediterranean, a trading hub, a naval power, a prize fought over by Byzantines, Venetians, and Ottomans. Today the armies are gone, and what remains is the rare intact skeleton of that world. Number 3. Perast, Montenegro. Number 3 is a town of 17 families and 16 churches. Perast, on Montenegro's Bay of Kotor, was once a naval academy town, so wealthy that each of its great families built a Baroque palace on the waterfront. Nearly all of them still stand, more palaces per person, it is said, than anywhere else on the Adriatic. But the true wonder floats offshore. Our Lady of the Rocks is not a natural island. It was built by hand for 500 years. Local sailors dropped stones into the bay, and over time the pile rose from the seabed into an island. On it they built a church. Inside that church the walls are covered with silver votive plaques, thousands of them left by sailors who survived storms and wanted to say thank you. There is a Montenegrin legend that explains it all. A sailor, they say, found an icon of the Madonna on a rock here, and each time he returned safely from sea, he added another stone. That is the whole story of Perast in miniature: faith, the sea, and patience, repeated until it became an island. Number 2. Cabo de Gata, Spain. Number 2 is not a town. It is landscape so strange you will forget you are in Europe. Cabo de Gata in Spain's far southeast is the driest place on the continent, a volcanic coastline of rust-red cliffs, black rock, and one of the only true deserts in Europe. The beaches here are opposite the Costa del Sol, 40 minutes away. Playa de los Genoveses and Playa de Monsul are broad, wild, and undeveloped. Monsul, with its giant dune of black volcanic sand, is so cinematic that Spielberg filmed the beach scenes of Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade right here. That shot of Sean Connery's biplane on the sand, Cabo de Gata, and the desert hides more than beaches. Behind the coast sit the salt flats, pink water, white salt, and one of the largest flocks of flamingos in southern Europe, feeding in the shallows as the sun goes down. In a country of 100 million tourists a year, this corner stays almost empty. That is its secret. Number 1, Bosa, Sardinia. And now, number 1, the place I promised would surprise you most. It is not an island fortress or a drowned city. It is a small town in Sardinia that almost no one puts on an itinerary, and it may be the single most beautiful town in the Mediterranean. Bosa sits on the Temo, the only navigable river in Sardinia, and its houses are painted in a palette that looks accidental but isn't. Pistachio, saffron, rose, and every faded color between, stacked along the riverbank beneath a 12th century castle. It is the Mediterranean town you picture when you close your eyes, and it is real. The details are what hold you here. The old riverside tanneries, where leather was once cured in the open air, have been turned into cafes and workshops, and their stone basins still visible. The castle was built by the Malaspina family in 1112 and still guards the whole valley. Climb it at the end of the day, when the river turns gold and the town below looks like a painting, and tell me this does not belong at the top of this list. 10 hidden gems. The Maldives of Europe, Slovenia's hidden Venice, a drowned city in Turkey, a fortress you can only enter through one gate, and a river town in Sardinia that nearly everyone misses. Here is what I want you to take from this, beyond the images. The Mediterranean you have been told about, the one in the brochures, is about 46,000 kilometers of coastline. Every summer, more than 40 million travelers squeeze into the same 10 Mediterranean towns. But the real Mediterranean is enormous. It rewards the traveler who turns left where everyone else turns right. Every place in this video is a real address, reachable on a normal budget and emptier than you would ever believe. If one of these 10 places made you stop and imagine yourself there, that is the one to visit first. Tell me which one it was in the comments and subscribe, because this is only the beginning of the series. This is Professor Xplain. Keep track, because there are more videos coming very soon.